Yo, what's up, guys? Mistwater, aka Lightwater. Now, Swiftwater. Um, yes, this is me a video about Resto Druid. I'm Resto Druid. His name's Swiftwater. All right, let's get right into it. So, just like the Resto Showman video, here we are, straight at the legendary crafting thing. This one is entirely irrelevant. So, I started the Resto Showman video to show you why the class has issues, and I start with the legendaries because that was the clear choice. This is gonna be the exact opposite. I'm gonna show you why Resto Druid is broken, and we're gonna start with the legendaries because you'll understand. These legendaries are probably the strongest legendaries I've ever seen for healers, ever. Um, I'm scared to say that in case there's like that 0.1% chance a Blizzard employee is watching, but there's 4 legendaries in here that are probably stronger than all the other healer legendaries. Like they don't have just one; they have a lot of them. So let's get straight to them. This one is not one of them. This says if you only have out a single reju, its effects are increased by 30%. Obviously, this is trash. It's hasn't been updated really for healer, but it's meant for like I guess a feral druid maybe, or like a single target fight boomkin. So yeah, just kind of a weird place right now because it's obviously not good, right? Okay, this one it makes all of our hots go 10% faster. Just base, flat, passive. That's all it does. So it's like just a 10% HPS increase, honestly. Maybe as little, maybe get a little diminishing return because you do some flat heals that don't scale with haste. So maybe like 8%, but I mean it's gonna give you more free regrowths. It's all your hots tick faster. It's good. So it's like an 8, 9, 10% increase depending on how you heal. This one hasn't come out yet. This is one that a lot of people have got their like dicks hard over, and I'm not quite sure why. Because to me, as a healer, it doesn't interest me in the slightest. But I guess there's a lot of Druid players that like doing a little bit of everything. Anyways, the effects of Stickhide, Astral Influence, and Feline Swiftness, and Ysera's Gift are increased by 100%. So I guess there's the Ysera's Gift part, which is kind of interesting. Maybe that's like 1% of your healing, 2%. Then it says when you shift into your Affinity's form, you gain Heart of the Wild for 15 seconds, once every minute. So Heart of the Wild, basically depending on the form that you picked, makes it like 30% or 50% better. Actually, maybe even more, right? So basically, every 15 seconds of every minute, you could be a super cat, a super bear, or a super boomkin. Obviously, we're looking at this through the Resto Druid lens. I have no intention of like trying to tank or trying to do feral DPS or trying to do boomkin DPS. This might be really good for like keys, maybe. Like if the healing is completely taken care of, maybe the 15%, boomkin or like feral would be a good enough DPS increase. Maybe. All right. So moving on. So these aren't the really impressive ones so far. Obviously, the 10% increase HPS is very nice. This is another meh one. Wild Growth has a 25% chance to cause your next rejuve or regrowth to apply to 2 additional targets within 20 yards of the target. This isn't bad. I actually randomly just started this, and unfortunately I didn't think about it. But I wonder if this works on nature swiftness. So if for example, let's say it procs, and then you cast NS, will those 3 regrowths all be increased by 100%? That would actually be kind of relevant, and would probably, if you always time it with that, would probably make this a lot better. That being said, if we boil this down to its most simple mathematic equation, this is a 75% chance per wild growth to do a regrowth, because regrowth is probably the best one of these to do. So it's 75% of a regrowth every time you wild growth. It's not terrible. Maybe a 5% HPS increase, maybe 4, somewhere in that area, 2 to 3. It's not bad. It would fit in. It would be one of the better legendaries if it was part of a different class. Sorry to cough. Anyways, now we move on to the real legendaries. The Dark Titan's Lesson. This one has a name. That's how you know it's good. You may lifebloom 2 targets at once, and lifebloom's final healing is increased by 200%. Wait, I wonder if they changed that. They might have changed it actually. I believe this was written as bloom healing. Whoa, if they just nerfed this right before I made the video, that would be insane. I need, unfortunately, a test subject to test it out. Okay, well, I'm going to assume it works the exact same way that it has been when I've been testing it. So what it means by final healing, I can only assume is the bloom healing, but maybe they rewrote it like that to navigate around this. Okay, anyways, here's the way that I've been testing it and how it's been working. So, because we have 2 life blooms, you obviously take photosynthesis, which means you can keep 1 life bloom on yourself, so all your hots take 20% faster. Not only that, but you'll notice this is a 200% increase, aka 3 times bloom healing. So, when your hots are taking 20% faster, and you keep a life bloom on tank with photo, this if you guys didn't know with photo, when your life bloom is on an ally, that your periodic heal is about 5% chance to cause a bloom effect, and this bloom, remember, is 3 times more. So what I found was happening was, because of the increased tick rate and the sheer volume of hots that I had on the tank, the bloom heal was happening like once every 3 or 4 seconds for around 6 to 7k healing. And it was like on average, it was normally hitting about 5 to 6k, and it was critting 11 to 12k if I had all my hots on them. Just really think about that, right? Let me put that in perspective, huh? My regrowth heals for like 2200. All right, before mastery factored in, right? So this life bloom ticking is honestly hitting harder than every single healer's healing spell in the game every like 4 seconds. So just the bloom passive, I mean, let me just show you here. This is my overall from a dungeon. 17%, my top heal was life bloom's bloom, not life bloom, it's bloom heal. Okay, then life bloom did 9% of my healing, so 26% of my healing was from life bloom with this legendary. It's absolutely insane. Also, you'll notice what's my second heal? Regrowth. You know why my second heal is regrowth? Because get this, the second life bloom also procs Omen of Clarity, right? Or Moment of Clarity, whatever it's called, which gives you free regrowths, right? And get this, because you're always keeping a life bloom on yourself, that means all your hots are ticking 20% faster. So not only did your chance to get free regrowths double, that double also increased by another 20% because everything's ticking faster, which means more chances for free regrowths. So you went from 100% chance to get a 4% chance to a 240% chance to get a 4% chance, essentially, right? 2.4 times more. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit more. Almost every regrowth I was casting was free, or damn near every other. I was able to wild growth on cooldown in 5-mans. I replaced my mushroom at every single pack. I would 5-man reju, 5-man regrowth the group like all the time. Like, and I never had to drink ever. Like all regrowths were free. It was like insane. So anyways, enough dick riding this legendary. It's obviously broken and might get nerfed. I hope it doesn't, obviously. But as it stands right now in a 5-man, this is probably something close to a 40 to 45% HPS increase. I'm not even joking. It's that strong. And it's only because of photo. So, yeah. I mean, it might be as little as... I mean, here's the thing, right? You can always switch the life bloom to another person, too. So you can make 2 people immune. Maybe 40%'s a little bit much. Depends on how you use it, but it's anywhere from like 30 to 40%, honestly. It's pretty nasty. Here's another broken one. Swiftmend no longer consumes a heal over time effect and extends the duration of your heal over time effects by 10 seconds. So we did some testing, and so we immediately, me and my stream had 2 reactions to how this legendary would be used. I was hoping that it would work really well with Nourish, and people thought it would be really good with Cenarion Ward. The answer is both, but it's probably better with Cenarion Ward. It's a little tricky to use, and my little trick gaming just requires a few brain cells. But it's still really strong. So essentially what this allows is you can extend a Cenarian Ward if you use it right after Cenarian Ward is placed. Then you can extend it again, because remember, Swiftmend's cooldown is only 15 seconds. So 8 plus 10 is 18, so you have a 3-second window to re-extend again, therefore making it 28 seconds, at which case it has met its own cooldown, and then you can just recast Cenarian Ward again. So it's a permanent Cenarian Ward, which is pretty cool. Or unfortunately, we just don't have that much mastery on the beta right now because secondary stats are very, very low. It seems like they've sort of learned our lesson, and they've made secondary stats like very low. So you just can't really get that much mastery to really take advantage of Nourish. But this would be the legendary, in my opinion, for Nourish, because Nourish wants to heal the tank when the tank has all of their hots, right? So Wild Growth, Regrowth, Rejuve, hopefully Cultivation, Spring Blossoms, you name it, right? All of them. And then you want to extend them with Swiftmend, and then you have 10 seconds to spam Nourishes that are going to hit very, very hard. We tested it. These Nourishes were hitting for 5-6k non-crits, which is very strong, but at the same time, it was kind of just like, like you could just get that from the double lifebloom legendary for free, so it didn't really feel too crazy. I mean, it was still really strong, but it's like everything's proportional, right? Like another class that would be so broken, but for Resto Druid, it's like, well, that's all right. Or it could have permanent Cenarian Ward, or double lifebloom. Like all these choices are so ridiculous. Or just 10% increased hot healing, right? Like I don't know. So yeah, these three in particular are very strong. Oh yeah, and here's our fourth one, which I don't think is going to be very strong in 5-mans, but will be very good in raid. So it says Rejuve has a 2% chance to create a new Rejuve on a target, nearby target. So essentially, every time your Rejuve heals, there's a 2% chance that just makes a new one. Now, obviously, this is one of those things where if you don't have haste, it's garbage, and if you have a lot of haste, it becomes exponentially good. Because more haste means more ticks. I believe the tick rate for Rejuve is every 2.5 seconds. So base is 6 seconds, so even with just like 1% haste, you've already got 7 ticks. So my mind immediately thought, well, if I run photo, and I lifebloom myself, that means things tick 20% faster. So bada bing, bada boom. You know. So I think we did the math, and with like a full haste build and photo, you could get like 10 ticks, 11 ticks, which is just not bad. That's a 20% chance, 22% chance to print more Rejuves. There was also the idea of Flourish. We did the math, and over the long term, it would end up being less Rejuves on average than the photo, but it would at least allow it to be during a burst window. So if you do run the 2% chance Rejuve in a raid setting, you definitely want to go Flourish probably. Or if the fight is more like consistent healing, then you'd want photo. But it actually still kind of feels weak compared to what the other legendaries can do, surprisingly. So this is going to be a legendary that I think gets way stronger as the game goes on, and we can achieve ridiculous amounts of haste, right? Because it's only a matter of time till the Rejuves can start being reliably printing other Rejuves. They kept the chance low, though. They were pretty smart. In order for this to really get out of control, I think the chance is going to have to go to like 3 or 4%. Because there's no way we're ever going to reach infinity Rejuves, right? But who knows? We would have to find something that increases the duration of Rejuve, I think. Therefore, giving us more ticks. But I digress. So that is the legendaries. So yeah, the reason why the class feels really strong is all I've been doing is 5-man content, and Resto Druid is hands down, and I mean hands down, the absolute leader in the pack of 5-man healing. I can do 4 or 5k HPS like asleep at the wheel. It's pretty insane. Yeah. This is kind of the build I've been going for 5-mans, I think, right? Yeah. Abundance. You could obviously just take Cenarian Ward if you really wanted to, but I found that, I mean, the tank healing with the double lifebloom legendary is absolutely ridiculous. And then so I just keep a bunch of Rejuves, and then this way Regrowth's critting a lot, even more Like it's more of a guarantee because you also have the 40%, right? So, also, I mean, it does. Here's the thing: abundance does lose a little bit of value for running double lifebloom legendary because almost every regrowth is free. So the mana portion of this isn't necessarily as big, but I don't know. Nourish is meh. Cenarian Ward seemed like overkill, but you know, it's just like too many. There's just like too many globals that you need to put on your tank, I guess, and like they just never needed more healing. Like the thing is, before Cenarian Ward, you already do like twice the next highest single target healer's healing in the game. So if those healers are ever expected to do content, then why would you ever need Cenarian Ward? Unless your tank's doing some really ridiculous shit. So I guess it depends on your tank. If your tank likes going wild, take Cenarian Ward. If you have to do any AoE healing, I'd take Abundance. These two, I guess it's, you know, dealer's choice. I mean, Heart of the Wild could be used as a speed increase, a ranged increase, or a survivability cooldown for 12% DR, I guess. And also you get more health, I think, in bear form, and you're a little bit tankier. So maybe that would be the combo if you really want to survive something. If you really want to be fast and help do DPS, you could do Feral Heart, Balance Heart. Feral abilities felt pretty weak, but I haven't really crunched the numbers on them. I don't even really like talking about DPS. That's not my thing. So feel free to look into that yourself. So there was some interesting things. Soul of the Forest actually randomly got a buff if you think about it, because Swiftmend's cooldown is now 15 seconds, right? And it increases the healing of your next regrowth or rejuve by 200% and your next wild growth by 75%. So if you use Swiftmend on cooldown and you delayed your wild growth a little bit, every wild growth could be empowered by 75%. That's actually not bad now. Soul of the Forest is actually not that bad. Also, the regrowth healing is increased by 200%. And as I found out, if you combine that with Nature's Swiftness, it actually becomes so ridiculous. Like I was seeing like 16k crits, which with no hots on, by the way. So it would easily be a lay on hands. But like, is that really that worth it? Are you gonna like save this to combo for a lay on hands every minute? Maybe. It's actually not that bad. Cultivation's always been kind of the winner. In the dungeon I found, though, it didn't seem like people were dipping below 60% because I was healing them too well. But an extra hot if your mastery stacked is just insane. And then I guess tree form is more control. Honestly, I actually think all three of these are completely viable in 5-mans. As far as rating goes, in my opinion, cultivation is always going to be the winner. In 5-mans, the healing is a little bit more intense and spread out, which means cooldowns typically usually end up being a little bit better. So, I think Soul might actually have a place in 5-mans now, as well as Tree. And, yeah. I still took Cultivation because it's Fire and Forget. I don't have to worry about it. It's just another Mastery stack. It's also another Hot because I'm running the double Lifebloom Legendary, so I want the Bloom proc more often if my tank dips down below. And it's very noticeable when Spring Blossoms is ticking, Cultivation's ticking, Rejuve's ticking, Regrowth's ticking, Lifebloom's ticking, Wallgrowth's ticking. And it just procking this free bloom, boom, 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 non-stop for like 10Ks. It's out of this world, guys. It's so much healing, it's unreal. Row 45. I think Overgrowth is garbage. I really do. I think Overgrowth's only chance of working is if they remove the cooldown and reduce the mana cost. I think if they drop the mana cost to 5,000 and remove the cooldown, this could actually see some play. And I think you would actually use it with Nourish. This would be the only way that you could do Nourish. I think Nourish should maybe have some kind of like little caveat, like where it casts faster and costs less mana if you're healing your Lifebloom target. Because then what you could do is you could Overgrowth random raid members and then spam Nourish on them. And I think this would be a really interesting combo of abilities. Because right now, Overgrowth and Nourish seem like complete dead talents right now. And I really like the idea of both of them. It's just the mana cost, the cast time, and the cooldown on these, right? 1 minute cooldown is 6,000 mana. I mean, if you do the math, the mana cost of a Lifebloom, a Rejuve, you know, it's only one wild growth hot, right? So you'd take like 1/6 of the mana cost of wild growth, and a regrowth heal over time, so not the initial heal, right? So, and then you figure out what the mana cost is. It's like Overgrowth costs like more than what those would have cost in the first place, right? So it's not like you're doing efficient healing. It's just an oh shit button. But it's not really a good oh shit button because it's all hots, right? So it's like, oh god, and I give you 4 hots. Now what? Now we've got to wait for them to tick to actually matter, right? Well, I don't have time for that. So what? Now you're gonna nature swiftness regrowth. Just seems like a lot of work for losing significant throughput from Spring Blossoms, even in a 5-man. Like another mastery buff on the entire group, plus the hots that Spring Blossom's doing, and the which procs. By the way, Spring Blossoms is one of the fastest ticking hots in the game. It procs lifebloom non-stop. The difference between a tank who's not standing in Spring Blossoms versus who is actually like so insane if you're running photo. And in raid, obviously you're gonna want all of these hots on like all the melee, because that's all mastery stacks, right? So I don't really know where Overgrowth belongs. I guess it's a PvP talent only, but we still have PvP talent, so why isn't it just here? I don't know. And then there's Inner Peace, which I guess is okay for certain raid fights if the Trank matches up well, but the loss of throughput is alarming. It's like not taking Spring Blossoms is like a 20% HPS decrease, so, and usually getting an extra Trank out is only like a 10% increase or a 5% increase to your healing. So you really need, basically you only take Inner Peace if it's to save the raid. That's it. It's not an HPS increase at all. Alright, brings us to our last row. Germination blows. Has always sucked, but it got a little bit better, at least in my mind, because it's kind of good with the Nourish and the Swiftmend legendary. So if you take Germination and the Swiftmend legendary, you can get this, and you can get a lot of hots on things. Or if you're taking the Swiftmend legendary with Scenario Ward, you could definitely take Germination. But it's almost like too much of an investment. So many hots, right? It's like, who really needs Rejuve, Wild Growth, Regrowth, Spring Blossoms? Did I say Wild Growth? I don't know. There's too many hots at Lifebloom, Cenarian Ward. Then you Swiftmend it to extend all of them by 10 seconds. What is that? 8, 9 hots? I don't even know. Plus Cultivation. I mean, it sounds epic, but like, I guess you could just keep it rolling on a target forever. I don't really know. But yeah, Germination kind of has some combos with certain legendaries, but again, it just doesn't really feel that good when its competitors are Flourish and Photo. And Photo has always been the 5-man king. Most people like Flourish and Raid. I prefer to play a tank healing or a spot healer playstyle with Photo still. So I play my save 5-man build as I do in Raid, and I was seeing pretty good parses with it, around the same as like people that were really good playing Flourish, right? So Resto might be the only healer who has 2 viable, completely different healing styles in Raid. And I think that's cool. And I was really hoping that Nourish opened up a third very niche style, which was ultra tank healing. And it might. I think there is one boss where you have to heal to full. And so if that's the case, the Swiftmend legendary double germ Nourish would actually be insane. Actually insane. That would be the way you go about it. But the problem as it is right now is that regrowthing when you have that many hots is almost equivalent to Nourish, because we don't have the mastery to support in the Nourish playstyle. So I think Nourish is dead, guys. In almost every situation, it's like, why didn't you just cast another regrowth? Because remember, regrowth's going to do a 40% more basically when you already have a regrowth hot on them, and it hits fairly hard, right? Base Nourish is 2036, base regrowth is 1800, so it's almost the same amount. Obviously Nourish is going to get a bigger benefit from all of the hots, but regrowth automatically gets 40%. So how much mastery do you need Nourish to get before it overcomes the 40% increase that regrowth got? Quite a bit, actually. Quite a bit. I'm just complaining about Nourish this whole time. Anyways, moving on. I guess I'll get to the overview part. So I've tried out some of the legendaries. I like them a lot. A lot of them seem like playstyle choices, which is good. The two that really just blow me away are the double lifebloom and the Swiftmend one. These are very equal, I think, in power, and will be user's choice. I'm a bigger fan of the two lifeblooms, but I could totally see how someone loves the Swiftmend one more, and it's a kind of ultra fire and forget, right? You just Swiftmend the tank every time it's up, and then right before it's up, make sure that you put any hots that may have fell off. You run Cenarian Ward, and boom, your tank has like permanent 7 hots and just doesn't ever die, like ever, and that's pretty insane. Also, it can't be understated that by extending all of your hots 10 seconds, that is so many less like globals that you have to cast. One of the big issues I'm running into with Resto Druid right now is that yes, they are the best healer in the game, but only if you had time to set up or that you're constantly active, right? If damage happens and none of your hots were out, it can be pretty devastating. Like you just really can't react. Like your first reaction is probably wall growth because your group took a bunch of damage, and it's probably NSing the tank, then putting lifebloom on him, and then maybe you stabilized. Maybe you have to use like your, for me it'd be my carrying ability, Iron Bark. Oh yeah, that's another thing. So right now the carrying ability is so broken for all of the healers, because we all take the Kalia. We all take Kalia because she's the strongest healer by far. This chick does like 10% of your healing, 15, so it doesn't really matter what other soulbind you pick. Anyways, the Kyrian Covenant ability for Resto Druid is actually so much stronger than anyone thought it would ever be. When I push the button, the tank doesn't die. Like, it's actually pretty insane. I have no idea. Oh yeah, it's over here. Kindred Spirits. Like, this is insane. When it replicates 50% of my healing onto them again. Like, think about that. It's a 50% HPS increase single target for 10 seconds every minute on the tank. Like, he just does not die. And then I think all of the healing he receives, he sends over to me or something. Or like I also get like plus 20% healing when it's active or something. I don't really know how it works. All I know is every time I push this button, we don't die. Both of us do not die. We like heal each other or something. My heals heal him, which then heals me. It's some weird bullshit. I wish I could explain it better. I just push this thing on cooldown and I laugh because I'm already the best single target healer in the game, and then Kindred Spirits is the most broken thing I've seen. Iron Bark gives 20% increased hots for 12 seconds, usable every minute and a half. Then I have Nature's Swiftness. I have so many tools where my single target healing is already the strongest in the game before you give me these things. Like, it's actually insane. I can always Trank, which counts as another hot for the purpose of procking Bloom. Like, my whole life seems just to keep like a billion hots on the tank and just watch the blooms roll in. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I might show some gameplay. I want to do some of the Mythic Plus dungeons on beta with Resto Druid. I think that'd be really fun. I feel like I would steamroll it personally. I know it sounds cocky, but this class just seems really broken right now. So let's hope they didn't nerf my double lifebloom legendary. I'm going to test it after this video. Final thoughts. I mean, Resto Druid is just looking like the MVP. I think that they're going to be middle or mid-high of the pack in raid. I think they're going to be absolute top for 5-mans, which in my opinion makes them the best healer, because if you can be top 3 in one category and top 1 in the other, there's probably no, you know what I mean? Like, your average comes out to being like 1.5 like tier, you know what I mean? Like, you're almost top tier in everything. So yeah, they just feel really strong. It's a lot of busybody work, a lot of hots, a lot of clicking, and it's really difficult when you only have 9% haste. And so you can see our stats are very low. Like, look at my stats: 8% crit, 9% haste, 10% mastery, 6% verse. Like, I am very weak. I realize that my gear is still blues, and I have no idea what raid ready item level is, but I can't imagine these are going to go up that much. Like, maybe, maybe like 4% more and everything. Who knows? So they're really starting the secondary stats out really low at the bottom. And I actually think that's a really good idea. But that means that we are going to experience some very gnarly power creep later on in the expansion, and so I hope they're ready for that. What else can I say? Is there anything else I forgot? There are some other Covenant abilities that I didn't really talk about. But again, I'm just sort of focused on like raw HBS. That's kind of my stick. The Night viability gives you like stealth or something after you use it, so people are thinking that's gonna be really good for Mythic Plus. The other Druid abilities are actually some of the most fun ones ever. Ravenous Frenzy and Convoke the Spirits are some of the most interesting abilities ever, and I did get to try them out on a different Druid. But right now, Kalia is just too much healing on the Carrion Soulbind, so she's kind of ruining everything for us because we don't really test anything else. Like I've done this same mission to unlock this same chick now 4 times. And I realize that's my choice, but I mean, when she's doing 11% plus, where is it at? Plus 1.3% plus 3.3%. That's like 16% of my healing. So it's not really a choice, you know. Oh, and the Kindred Focus, which was the beam, the connection, the 10 seconds every minute, that was 3.8. So that's not even that bad either, right? It's like this Covenant is a solid like 20% HBS increase. And it just doesn't seem like there's that much of an HBS increase anywhere else. All the rest of the Soulbinds don't really look that good for healers, so. Alright, I guess that is Druid. I feel like I did it. Some service. We talked about the legendaries, we didn't really talk about the conduits. Oh yeah, there's no conduits out yet. That's right. Yeah, I've got no potency conduits, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I've got no conduits. And I could care less. It's still like the strongest healer. That's what's hilarious. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna end the video here. Thanks for watching, guys.